Cuba goes BRICS. Cuba has just made a groundbreaking move. It is officially joining the BRICS alliance. For a country that has spent decades largely cut off from much of the global economy, this shift is monumental. It opens doors to new trade partners, fresh investments, and a significantly larger role on the world stage. To fully grasp the importance of this decision, we must examine the historical context and its broader implications for Cuba, the United States, and global economic power. A history of economic isolation. For over 60 years, Cuba has been under a strict U.S. embargo which has heavily restricted its ability to participate in international trade. American companies are prohibited from conducting business in Cuba, and the island has been blocked from major financial networks. This policy originated in the early 1960s after the Cuban Revolution, when the U.S. viewed Cuba's communist government as a direct threat to its interests. By isolating the country economically, Washington hoped to pressure Cuba into embracing capitalism. However, instead of crumbling, Cuba found alternative ways to sustain itself, primarily by strengthening ties with socialist allies and pursuing economic self-sufficiency. Despite these efforts, the embargo has been devastating. Cuba has struggled to acquire basic necessities like food, medicine, and fuel. Infrastructure projects stalled, foreign investment dried up, and the daily lives of ordinary Cubans were marked by persistent shortages. Without access to global financial institutions such as the International Monetary Fund or the World Bank, Cuba found it nearly impossible to secure funding for large-scale projects. Cuba's resilience in the face of economic hardship. Cuba's ability to adapt under these harsh conditions is remarkable. The country became a center for scientific research, education, and medical innovation despite having fewer resources than many of its global counterparts. With limited access to international pharmaceutical companies, Cuba developed its own vaccines and medicines, gaining recognition for its breakthroughs in biotechnology. In agriculture, Cuban farmers pioneered sustainable practices, including urban farming and organic techniques, which have since been praised as models for eco-friendly food production. Yet these creative solutions did not eliminate the underlying issue: economic stagnation caused by Cuba's exclusion from the global financial system. Despite its resourcefulness, the island's economy remained stuck in survival mode, unable to expand or attract significant foreign investment. The game-changing move: joining BRICS. Cuba's invitation to join BRICS represents a significant turning point. BRICS, comprising Brazil, Russia, India, China, and South Africa, has evolved into one of the most influential economic alliances in the world. Collectively, these nations control nearly half of the global economy, giving them immense weight in international trade and finance. By joining this powerful bloc, Cuba is no longer merely surviving. It now has an opportunity to thrive. One of the most immediate benefits for Cuba is the ability to bypass the US dollar in trade. BRICS countries have been actively developing alternative financial systems to reduce reliance on Western-controlled banking institutions. This means Cuba can engage in trade using alternative currencies or barter agreements, circumventing many of the restrictions that have long hindered its economic growth. Additionally, Cuba gains access to substantial development funds through the BRICS-backed New Development Bank. This funding can be used to modernize its power grid, upgrade hospitals, expand industries, and revamp infrastructure that has been in decline for decades. With these financial resources, Cuba can finally undertake long-overdue projects that were previously impossible due to a lack of capital. Cuba's geographic position makes it a valuable player in international trade. Situated at the crossroads of the Caribbean, North America, and South America, the island has the potential to become a major logistical hub. The port of Mariel, already undergoing upgrades, could serve as a crucial gateway for goods moving between Latin America and emerging global powers. This shift could reposition Cuba as an essential player in global supply chains. Cargo ships transporting agricultural products, medical supplies, and advanced technology could pass through its waters, transforming the island into a key trade link between BRICS nations and the Western Hemisphere. Another major advantage of joining BRICS is Cuba's ability to expand its already respected medical and biotechnology industries. Despite economic hardships, the country has made significant contributions to global healthcare, developing cost-effective vaccines, pioneering treatments for diseases like lung cancer, and sending medical teams abroad to assist in crises. With access to new funding and cutting-edge technology from BRICS partners, Cuba's medical industry can scale its innovations to a much larger market. Instead of operating in isolation, Cuban researchers can now collaborate with leading scientists from China, India, and Brazil, accelerating medical advancements and improving global healthcare networks. A leader in sustainable development. Cuba has long been a champion of sustainability, not out of luxury, but necessity. Limited access to fossil fuels and industrial supplies forced the country to explore alternative solutions early on. As a result, Cuba became a pioneer in organic farming, solar energy, and wind power, long before much of the world prioritized climate action. As BRICS nations seek to reduce their dependence on fossil fuels, Cuba's expertise in sustainable agriculture and renewable energy can gain international recognition and investment. Financial support from BRICS members could help modernize and expand Cuba's green initiatives, positioning it as a global leader in sustainable development. Geopolitical implications. A challenge to U.S. dominance. Cuba's deepening ties with BRICS mark a significant shift in global power dynamics. For decades, U.S. foreign policy has been built around isolating Cuba and using economic sanctions as a tool to limit its influence. However, as new alliances form, this strategy is becoming less effective. China and Russia have already established strong economic relationships with Cuba, and now, with its BRICS membership, Cuba is further integrating into an economic system that operates outside of U.S. control. This move signals a broader trend toward a multipolar world where economic power is no longer concentrated in the West. By aligning itself with nations that are actively building alternative financial structures, Cuba is positioning itself to bypass traditional economic barriers. If these new systems continue to gain traction, Cuba could conduct trade and secure funding without relying on Western financial approval. A new era for Cuba. For the first time in decades, Cuba has a real opportunity to break free from the economic constraints that have long dictated its development. Access to new trade markets, financial institutions, and global investment could fuel a much-needed economic revival. Infrastructure projects that have been stalled for years due to lack of capital can finally receive funding. The country's healthcare system, already renowned for its innovation, can expand its reach and become a hub for medical advancements. Tourism, another vital sector, could see a resurgence as Cuba gains stronger global ties. With improved infrastructure, increased trade, and renewed investment, the island is on the brink of a new economic era. Cuba's future in BRICS. Cuba's decision to join BRICS is more than just a diplomatic move. It is a bold step toward reshaping its future. No longer an isolated island struggling under sanctions, Cuba is now emerging as an influential player in a shifting global economic order. As BRICS continues to challenge Western economic dominance, Cuba's integration into this alliance signifies a major realignment of global power. The island, once sidelined by economic restrictions, is now stepping into a position of strength, ready to participate in a new and evolving financial landscape.